Welcome back, grade 8s. So today, or this week's lesson, is about webbing from a text. So you want to be able to make the same kind of a web of notes that you've been making from an image, but you want to make it from a section of a textbook. So we're going to use that thieves strategy to help to come up with the levels of information in our web. So just like in feudal society, how there is a hierarchy where there's somebody at the top with the most power, the most importance, the king, followed by the greater nobles, lesser nobles, minor nobles, and then the peasants and commoners on the bottom. Just like that, there's a hierarchy of information in text that we read and also when we write. So the most important part of information is the title, followed by the heading, and there are multiple headings usually, then the subheadings for those headings, and then the text underneath the subheadings is going to be divided into paragraphs. And then every first sentence, the topic sentence of those paragraphs, gives you the next level of information, followed by the details within the paragraphs. So you can use those levels of information to try to make your web. So you can see there on the left, the title goes in the middle, and you can choose a shape and a color. In this instance, it's just a white circle. And then the headings will come off of that title. So in this case, it's a yellow square. And I've just put up there one heading, but you might have multiple headings underneath the title in the textbook. And then underneath the headings might be subheadings. And then you can see every first sentence and then the details. So let's practice. I'm going to show you a little bit of the reading that you've already scanned with the Thieves worksheet about medieval life and custom. And we're going to try to use that section of the textbook to make a web of notes. So I want you to get out a piece of paper, a fairly large piece of paper, and a pencil. And you're going to try to copy along with me as I fill out this web from the reading. The first thing you want to do is look at the section that you've been assigned to take notes on and find the title. So here's the first page in the section that you're taking notes from. The title in this textbook has this large font with this big bold line with the little diamonds inside of it. So you can see it says Medieval Life and Custom. So that font and that big bold line signify that it's a big title. It's a new big idea of information. So you're going to take it right from the text, Medieval Life and Custom. That will be the title of your web notes. So it's going to go right into the center of your page. So look at this. Here's what I'm going to write right in the center of my page, and I've chosen a brown circle. You don't have to choose that. You can put it in just in pencil for now and give it a shape and then make the colors later. So on your big piece of paper, you want to write Medieval Life and Custom right into the middle. Now, if I ever go too fast here, just pause the video so that you can copy out the notes. Once you have the title in the middle, you want to scan through the whole section of Medieval Life and Custom until you get to the end. You'll know you're at the end of one big title section when you find a new title. And what you're scanning for is, okay, well, what comes off of the title are the headings. So you're looking for the headings. Now, I think you'll see a heading right underneath Medieval Life and Custom. And it has a particular font style, and then it has that line above it, that yellow line with the little blue dots. So the manor is one of the headings. And we're going to keep scanning and look for some more headings to come off of the title. So this is what I call a junk page. It's not that it's not important. It's just additional information that isn't part of the regular, just that stretch of information. Okay, this is additional information. We're not going to try to include this in our notes. Nor are we going to try to include this page, right? This is additional, like an added-on activity. So here I think you'll see we're back to the regular information of this textbook, and I think you'll see that we found another heading. It's got that bold capital letter font, Ordinary People, and it's got the yellow line. So that tells us it's a heading. Now you might see some other bolded letters, Village Homes and Work in Cooperation. Now those aren't headings because that's a different font style, it's smaller. Those are subheadings. So we're just looking for the headings now. So we'll keep going. So do you see any headings here? No. Here we see another heading, Lord and Lady of the Manor. Same font style, same yellow line. And if we keep going, we're at the end now. There are no more headings. So there are 3 headings in this section about medieval life and custom. So here you go. We've got medieval life and custom in the middle, and then we're going to put the three headings coming off right directly off of that title. And in this case, I've chosen a blue square. So take a minute. You can pause the video and write those out if you need to. I'm going to keep moving. What you need next is to put the subheadings coming off of the headings. Now, when you look at the manor, there's 3 paragraphs there, but there's actually no subheadings about the manor. So we're going to keep going and looking for more headings. So here are the 2 changes. Now we're back to ordinary people. And I think you'll see that there's a whole whack of text under ordinary people. And then there's a subheading, village homes. And then there's another subheading, work and cooperation. So those 2 subheadings are going to come off of the heading ordinary people. I'm going to keep going if we find any more. So there's no more for ordinary people, but you can see there are many subheadings for Lord and Lady of the Manor. The manor house, the privileges, the obligations, and women's rights. So look what we do here. So coming off of ordinary people, we have village homes and work and cooperation. And coming off of Lord and Lady of the Manor, we have women's rights, we have obligations, we have privileges, and we have the manor house. And I've chosen pinkish with a bubble shape around it. So you'll notice that the manor didn't have a subheading. Now, what you can do is, now we want to take notes about the manor. And the level of information we're at now is this blue square, the manor. So the next level of information coming off, when we have notes coming off of the manor, you still want to use that next level, that pink with bubbles. Even though there are no headings, subheadings under the manor, we're still going to use that next level of information coming off the manor. We're not going to skip it. So what you can do is now turn, after subheadings, you think about every first sentence. So now we're going to zoom in on the manor and look a little more closely at the text. You'll notice that there are 3 paragraphs. And if you look at the topic sentence of each, and kind of scan what each paragraph's about, we're going to come up with a subheading to come off of the manor. So let's read, throughout medieval Europe, large fiefs were divided into parcels of land called manors. And if we scan and it says the manor had farmlands, woodlands, common pasture, a village, there was the church on the village, a mill, a blacksmith shop. So to me that's about, you have to think, well, what's a good subheading that encompasses that whole paragraph? And I think it's all about the division of the manor. How did they divide it up into chunks and sections? So I'm going to use that as my subheading coming off of the manor, division. Then I'm going to look at the next paragraph. So the manor village was almost always located by a river or stream from which the villagers drew water. So this is about location. And if I keep kind of scanning, it's about the stream was powered by a mill for grain, and there were hay fields and firewood. So it's not just about location. It's, to me, location and resources. Okay, so now we've got 2 subheadings. Division for that first paragraph, and location and resources for the second. So the next thing we're going to do is move to the third and last paragraph in this heading of the manor. The lord of the manor always kept some land on the manor for his own use and personal profit. It was called a domain. This land consisted of gardens and orchards around the manor house and strips of land. So, look, I could come up with a whole new subheading about the lord of the manor, or I could think, well, actually, that seems to me just more about how the manor is divided, right? We've already got that the manor is divided into farmlands and woodlands, so why not just also put that the information from that third paragraph under that subheading about division? So that's what you can do, right? You're trying to use the structure, the features of the text, the headings, the titles, the subheadings, and every first sentence, but you can also be creative in how you organize the information and decide, well, hey, that third paragraph really could fit into the subheading about the first paragraph. So that's what I decided to do. Let's have a look. So you can see I still have everything I had before, but coming off of the manor, I've added 2 new subheadings, division and then location and resources. So now I'm going to look and I'm going to come up with the details coming off of those 2 subheadings. I'll start with the first paragraph, which was about division. So you can see it says it divides it into farmlands, woodlands, common pasture, that means land where everybody could share, and then a village. It also mentions that the village itself, it also gives some details about the village, right? It says that there was a mill in the village, that's for grinding up the wheat to make bread. There's a blacksmith shop. There's a tannery, that's where leather was made from animal skins. And it also says that there was thatching, so there would have been a thatcher, somebody to make the roofs, and a fletcher, somebody to make the arrows. So let me show you how that would go on to your page. So coming off of, we've got the title in brown, the heading that we're working under, the manor, and then we've created a subheading for that first paragraph about the division of the manor. And then what we've done is come up with the details. So the division of the manor was into farmland at the top, woodland, common pastures, and the village. And then the village, you can see I've used another color for that last layer of information to show that the village was divided into these other pieces. So if you want to count how many levels of information do we have, from the most detailed to the most general and most important, there's 1 yellow, 2 black, 3 pink, 4 blue, and then the fifth level of information is the central title. So we've got 5 levels of information, which is a pretty good division of information. So we've shown a real good understanding of the information in the text. So now we're going to go and divide up that second paragraph, locations and resources. So if we read about it, it says the manor village was located by a river or stream. So that's important. So we could put stream coming off of location. And then there's some details about the stream. Well, why were the rivers or stream important? Because villagers drew water. The stream powered a mill to grind the bread. And it also provided, they were also near a hayfield. The river banks also provided water for the hayfields so they could grow hay for their animals. And then it also says people gathered firewood in common woodlands. So they lived near streams and they lived near forests. And then there's a couple details about the forest. It says forests were set for hunting and also for gathering firewood. So let's show you how that worked. So coming off of location and resources, the next level of information is black. So we put stream and forests. And then we've put the really fine details, hay, water, power, and hunting and firewood coming off of forests. Hopefully you're starting to make some sense of how that works. Okay, so the last piece then is this third paragraph about the lord of the manor. Remember, we decided we were going to put this under division. So the lord of the manor lived, kept some land for himself, for his personal profit and own use, and it was called the domain. And on the domain were gardens and orchards and strips of land used for farming. And it also says towards the bottom that sometimes the Lord would run this estate himself, but oftentimes they had a manager called a bailiff to keep the affairs of his domain in order. So here's what underneath division, or coming off of division, we already had farmland and woodland and such, so I just added another one, the domain. And on the domain, there's some details. The domain had a garden, it had a house, the manor house, it had orchards, and it was managed by a bailiff. So that's that whole heading of the manor done. So the next thing you got to think about is, all right, I've showed you how to do this first part. Now I want you to try to do the exact same thing for the next section, the next heading. So if you keep turning the page, the next heading is ordinary people. So you'll see that we already put the subheadings coming off of ordinary people, but those first few paragraphs don't have their own subheadings, so you're going to have to come up with some for those paragraphs. You're going to want to do the exact same thing that we did, that I just showed you how to do for the manor. If I come back to this image from earlier, you'll see we have the title in the middle and the 3 headings. Now the heading of the manor we finished. Okay, so all the details are not there because this is an older picture I took, but that would be done on your page. You've got all the stuff for the manor done, all the subheadings and details. Now what I want you to do is try to finish the notes for ordinary people. So that's one subheading, or one heading, and you should have subheadings come on off of there and all the details. When you're done that, try to do the next section of this main section of the textbook called Medieval Life and Customs. So do the next heading, Lord and Lady of the Manor. So keep taking the notes for those two headings, right? So I finished the first one. I want you to try to finish Ordinary People and Lord and Lady of the Manor. So that is your task, and I'd like you to try to finish for Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I'm going to send you an email, and I'm going to send you some more photos of a different section of the textbook, a whole new title, and you're going to try to do it. So this one is going to be for practice. You submit it to me, I'll give you some feedback, and then I'm going to give you a new section of the textbook to try brand new all by yourself, and we'll do that one for marks. Okay? Have a great day, kids.